Before you trust a smiling face, before you eat food from just anyone, listen to Sarah's story. She thought she was making a smart choice. She never imagined that one simple habit would slowly unravel her life. This is her warning: before you buy food from just anyone, watch what happened to her. Please follow, share, like and comment. Sarah had learned how to stretch $1 the hard way. Life in her small neighborhood wasn't cruel, but it wasn't kind either. Work was inconsistent, bills were relentless, and most evenings ended with her calculating what she could afford to eat the next day. That was when she met Mrs. Agnes. Mrs. Agnes sold homemade food every evening from a small table near the bus stop. Her smile was warm, her voice soothing, and her prices unbelievably cheap. "Everyone deserves a good meal," she often said. The food tasted better than anything Sarah could cook herself, rich, comforting, almost addictive. Soon, buying food from Mrs. Agnes became part of Sarah's routine. She felt lucky, even grateful. Some nights, they talked while the sun faded, and Mrs. Agnes asked questions about Sarah's life with unsettling interest. One evening, as Sarah walked home with her meal, an elderly neighbor stopped her. The woman's grip was firm despite her age. "Be careful who you eat from," she whispered. "Not all hands that give are clean." Sarah laughed it off. People in the neighborhood loved rumors. Still, that night, as she ate, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The warning stayed with Sarah longer than she expected, but not long enough to change her habits. Hunger was louder than superstition. Mrs. Agnes remained kind, attentive, almost motherly. Each meal tasted even better than the last. Sarah began recommending the food to coworkers. Life felt easier. She saved money, slept deeply, and felt strangely calm, too calm. Mrs. Agnes noticed everything. "You look tired," she'd say. "You've lost weight. You dream a lot, don't you?" Sarah never remembered telling her these things. One night, she arrived earlier than usual and saw Mrs. Agnes cooking behind her house. The kitchen lights flickered, casting long shadows. The smell was sharp, unfamiliar. Sarah noticed jars filled with dark liquids and powders she couldn't identify. When Mrs. Agnes turned and smiled, Sarah felt a chill. "Food tastes best when prepared in silence," she said. At home, Sarah ate anyway. That night, her dreams were vivid. She stood in a long line of people, all holding plates, all silent. At the front stood Mrs. Agnes, smiling as she counted something Sarah couldn't see. She woke up exhausted, and hungry again. The changes came quietly. Sarah began waking with headaches and unexplained bruises. Her mood shifted without warning: sadness, anger, fear, emotions that didn't feel like her own. She forgot small things at first: keys, names, appointments. At work, mistakes piled up. Her supervisor warned her. Friends stopped calling because Sarah always seemed distant, distracted. Still, every evening, she found herself standing at Mrs. Agnes's table. One afternoon, Sarah ran into Daniel, a man who used to buy food there. He looked thin, pale. "I stopped eating that food," he said suddenly. "You should too." Before Sarah could ask why, he walked away. That evening, she opened her container and froze. Inside the food was something hard, wrapped in cloth. Her hands shook as she unwrapped it. It was a small bundle of hair tied with red thread. Her stomach twisted. She threw everything into the trash. That night, she slept without eating for the first time in weeks, and slept peacefully. The next morning, Mrs. Agnes was waiting outside her apartment. Mrs. Agnes's smile didn't reach her eyes. "You didn't come yesterday," she said gently. Sarah lied. Said she was busy. Mrs. Agnes nodded slowly, as if already knowing the truth. Over the next few days, Sarah paid attention. She noticed who bought the food regularly, and what happened to them. One woman lost her job. Another fell ill. A young man vanished from the neighborhood entirely. Meanwhile, Mrs. Agnes renovated her house. Bought new clothes. Walked taller. Sarah stopped eating the food completely. Her energy slowly returned, but nightmares lingered. She dreamed of her own face floating in a pot, nameless and fading. One night, unable to sleep, Sarah followed Mrs. Agnes. She watched her carry a heavy bag into the woods behind her house. Whispering echoed through the trees. Sarah stepped closer and snapped a branch. Silence. Then Mrs. Agnes spoke, her voice sharp and cold. I wondered when you'd start asking questions. Fear took over. Sarah ran home and locked her doors, convincing herself she was imagining things. She told no one. Fear thrives in silence. But life pushed back. Her money ran out. Hunger returned. Against her better judgment, she bought one more meal. That night, the nightmares returned stronger than ever. She woke unable to move, hearing whispers recite her name. Sarah realized then, the food was never nourishment. It was a transaction. She skipped meals, grew weak, but refused to return. Mrs. Agnes came to her door again. You owe me, she said softly. Sarah slammed the door, but the whisper followed her inside. Sarah collapsed at work. Doctors found nothing wrong. Friends stopped visiting. The whispers grew louder. Desperate, she visited the elderly neighbor who had warned her. The woman listened carefully and nodded. She feeds on what people give freely, she said. Trust. Fear. Hunger. Sarah learned the truth. The food bound people to Mrs. Agnes, draining them slowly. There's only one way out, the woman said. Expose her. That night, Sarah returned to the woods, recording everything. Hidden behind trees, Sarah filmed Mrs. Agnes cooking under moonlight, chanting as she mixed ingredients with personal items stolen from buyers. When Mrs. Agnes turned suddenly, Sarah froze. I was wondering when you'd come back, she said. The smile was gone. Mrs. Agnes chased Sarah through the woods. Promises turned to threats. You needed me, she screamed. You all do. Sarah escaped, barely, and posted the video anonymously. Authorities investigated. Mrs. Agnes vanished overnight. The food stand never returned. Slowly, the neighborhood healed. So did Sarah. Months later, Sarah told her story openly. Not everyone believed her. But she didn't care. Because she learned the lesson the hard way. Before you buy food from just anyone, know what you're really consuming.